afternoon. Welcome to Creating Better Days. This is an advocacy of Forest Lake for mental health awareness, for mental health and well-being. And we are so happy that you've joined us today. Our host, Angela Cobb, is just having some connection issues at the moment, so she'll catch up later. Meanwhile, again, I'd like to welcome you to our first ever live webinar. And I would like to officially open today's program by showing you a quick video from Forest Lake's president, Mr. Alfred Hernaez Burgos Jr. Please watch this video.
Hello and welcome to Creating Better Days, a webinar series from Forest Lake that advocates mental health and well-being. Given these challenging times that are causing feelings of overwhelm, fear, and uncertainty, we wish to help you rediscover clarity, calm, and confidence. Recognizing the pandemic has changed the ways we grieve and come to terms with loss, we are offering this webinar as a channel to provide you with newfound knowledge and tools that you can use so that you may thrive in this brand new world by learning how to adapt and create a better now. I hope that my message finds you and your loved ones in good health. And once again, I welcome you to Creating Better Days.
That message was from our president, Mr. Alfred Hernaez Burgos Jr. And before we proceed, I just wanted to share with you a backstory about Forest Lake's grief therapy program called A Better Day, Your Journey to Healing. So it was in 2018 when Cathy, Babao, and Forest Lake decided to start on this program through Cathy's Good Grief Workshop series for our bereaved clients in Forest Lake, Binyan, Laguna. And through these counseling sessions, we began to see stories of transformation as they unraveled. We saw how the program was helping our participants move forward towards healthy, meaningful, and productive lives after their loss. And so this 2020, actually, we planned to take these workshops nationwide. However, due to the pandemic, these face-to-face workshops could no longer happen. So this brings us to where we are today. And we decided to take a better day online since we wish to continue the program. And knowing that many of us need this kind of support system now more than ever. So this is how Creating Better Days webinar series came to be, and we couldn't be happier to be with all of you today. So now please allow me to share with you one of those stories of transformation that actually took place through the program. So please watch this video about Forest Lake's grief therapy program, A Better Day, Your Journey to Healing.
So the Good Grief workshop that we designed for Forest Lake is delivered in 4 sessions, okay, or four modules. So the benefits of attending the full program is that not only do you get more learning, but you get to bond with a group of like-minded and heart-minded individuals who are on the same journey, more or less, although even if it's a unique unique experience to each and every one. What happens is you get to form a support group, and that's so important when you are in a period of grief. The social support that you receive is a huge factor in determining, quote-unquote, the success of your moving forward after a loss.
Yung pinagdaanan ko mga heart pains, sa tulong nitong workshop, malaking tulong talaga. I am Lilian T. Bartolome, the wife of the lost Adams V. Bartolome of Binyan. At first, nandun yung lungkot pa rin. Habang mula April hanggang ngayon, na ipagpatuloy ko yung workshop, maganda ang nararamdaman ko. Yung kanina, mayroong ginawa bago mag-start. Bumalik yung lungkot dahil sa love letter na papadala sa mahal sa buhay. That is a normal feeling na naramdaman ko before. Pagkatapos nun na maisulat ko, yung nararamdaman ko, move forward na pala ako. Hindi na masyadong masakit tulad nung una. Matapos yun, may graduation doon sa park, napalitan ng joy yung sadness. At saka marami ako natutunan tulad nung pakikisalamuha sa katulad kong namatayan. Naging malapit kami para magkakapatid, magkakaibigan. Kaya nga, sabi namin pagkatapos, hindi matatapos yung sa workshop namin, magpapatuloy kami na magkaroon ng communication to encourage one another and pray for one another and love for one another. Katulad yung natutunan ko, possibly na ma-share ko doon sa mga nakaranas din ng kalungkutan, na makapagbigay ako ng encouragement sa kanila. Hindi lang sa mga mahal ko sa buhay, sa ibang tao. Para naman na hindi ako maging maramot na ikinip ko lang yung aking natutunan sa workshop, kundi ma-share ko sa kanila. Mas maganda siguro yun.
All right. Hi. Hi. Thank you, Maui. Good afternoon. Hi. Thank you for your patience. Maraming salamat sa pasensya. I think, patience is an essential aside from our alcohol, our mask, and being mindful of our actions. Patience, I think, today is the number one essential. So I'd like to thank everyone for being so patient. We will create better days. We will learn how to become more patient given the situation, internet connection, and which leads me to our poll. By the way, I'd like to thank yung mga nagkwento ng kanilang mga beautiful stories about creating better days, yung kanilang mga saloobin sa mga nangyayari sa kanilang buhay, and how thankful they are for the journey that they went through, and the people who supported them in this journey. And I am feeling happy and excited and thankful that I'm able to join everyone. And Angel Jacob, magandang hapon ulit sa inyong lahat. Let us start, or let us continue this webinar by with a quick poll. Right now, we have a quick poll. And to everyone joining us, maraming salamat. Here are our questions for our poll. How are you feeling These are thoughts that we have every single day, most especially because we are in a lockdown. We're experiencing so many different emotions. So I'd like to know, please share with us how you're feeling. I am feeling, please select one of the following: happy, afraid. Are you feeling worried? Optimistic? And okay, there are other feelings that we would like to help all of us understand, or help all of you understand. So again, happy, afraid. Are you worried? Are you optimistic? Are you stressed? Do you feel tired? Are you worried again? And are you anxious? Please select one of the following feelings that we have mentioned. Our second question is, how have you been coping with staying at home? I have been, okay, cooking slash baking. Okay, I have been trying to sell, look for alternative sources of income, doing my passion. I've been exercising, cooking, painting. I have been staying connected online with friends and family. How have you been coping with staying at home? Praying, meditating, and communing with nature?
I think we have 30 seconds to answer. Is that right, Angel? Yes, I think
Yes.
so. Mhm.
Okay.
We have 30 seconds to answer each question.
All right.
Okay.
So okay, let us pick up from the second question again, and I shall read it again. I apologize for hurrying you up. I did not mean to do that. We will give you 30 seconds to think about this. Again, how have you been coping with staying home? I have been trying to sell, look for alternative sources of income. Doing my passion, exercising, cooking,
Okay,
painting.
10 seconds to go. Okay, next question.
Okay, what else have you been doing? Oh, okay, next question. All right. Since the lockdown, what challenges have you experienced? I have experienced challenges related to, please select one of the following: physical health, mental and emotional health, job, business, finances, relationships with family, relationships with friends. Adjusting to new normal activities. Okay.
Okay, next question.
Okay, next, number 4. Why did you join Creating Better Days webinar today? I signed up because I want to learn about coping and dealing with difficulties brought by the pandemic, to de-stress and manage my fear, stress, anxiety, uncertainty, finding closure and moving forward, adapting and thriving in our new situation, keeping myself mentally and emotionally healthy. That was our last question. That was the fourth question for our first poll.
Yes.
Do
And
we
I
answer
believe
that?
we can actually show the results right now, Angel.
Okay, yes, okay. Our results, how are you feeling? I am feeling, wow, nice. Happy is 18%, afraid is 3%, worried is 37%, and 43%. You guys are optimistic. Thank you.
That's good news.
How nice, how nice. What a beautiful way to spend our Sunday, being optimistic, feeling optimistic. So our second question, our second poll, let's see the results.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Most
How
of
have
us
you
are
been?
trying to be productive while working from home.
Okay. So trying to self-cook, 11%. Okay, doing my passion, exercising, 18%. Staying connected online with family and friends, 16%. Praying, meditating, and communing with nature, 6%. Trying to be productive while working from home, how nice, 50%. Okay, being productive while working from home. That's nice. Okay, next. All right, since the lockdown, what challenges have you experienced? I have experienced challenges related to 4% of you, physical health, 29% said mental and emotional health, job, business, and finances, 22%, relationships with family and friends, 6%. And adjusting to new normal activities, that is the highest percentage of the challenge or challenges that you've experienced related to this lockdown. So adjusting to new normal activities. Now, we're all trying to adjust and trying to find ways on how to make this new normal something that we will be understanding, being patient with, and liking for probably a long time. Next. All right. Okay, why did you join Creating Better Days webinar today? I signed up because I want to learn about coping and dealing with difficulties brought about by the pandemic. That's 8%. To de-stress and manage my fear, stress and anxiety, uncertainty, 31%. Finding closure and moving forward, 5%. Adapting and thriving in a new situation, that's 22%. And keeping myself mentally and emotionally healthy, 34%. Beautiful energy shared by all of you. Thank you very much for answering our first poll. We have 2 more to go. I look forward, or the team and I look forward to your answers. Okay. Thank you once again for sharing how you feel today and the challenges that you face with this new normal. And more sharing and learning happening this afternoon. We are honored today to have 2 esteemed speakers. Cathy Babao, who is a journalist and grief coach, and Zarah Hernaez, a mental health first aider. Our first speaker is Cathy Babao, a journalist and grief coach who received her graduate degree in family psychology and education from Miriam College. She's trained in grief counseling at the Center for Loss and Transition in Fort Collins, Colorado, USA. Together with Forest Lake's A Better Day Grief Therapy program, she has facilitated the Good Grief Workshop series to teach our bereaved to live, or how to live, meaningful, healthy, and productive lives after loss. Today, she will share with us the 7 myths or Misconception of Grief, and 5 Reasons for Ritual. Let us all welcome Cathy Babao.
Hi, Angel. Hi, Maui.
Hi, Cathy.
Thank you for having me. It's the first time we're doing this online, so you'll have to pardon the technical glitches if ever there are going to be any. Okay, so can I have my slides, please? Okay, thank you. So I can still see everybody up there. Is that like,
Yeah,
are you guys fine with that, or?
I can hide.
Come back. Come back.
I'm back.
Let's see if the tech team can, like, hide you. Kasi baka
Okay.
ma-distract sila sa beauty ninyo, di ba? They won't look at my slides and they look at all the pretty ladies up there, right? So, okay. So, hi to our director. If you can fix that, fine. If not, then okay, I'll go ahead. So I'm gonna talk. This is I am assuming that everyone who's listening, well, has had a loss. Well, we've had many losses during this pandemic, all sorts of different types of losses, not just death. Well, primarily we've also had a lot of deaths, no more than we've probably had in the last decade or so. But in addition to the deaths, there is also loss of many things, right? And any type of loss will always result in some form of grief. Okay, so next slide. So my slides are being controlled remotely. So if there's a lag, please excuse the lag. So what is grief? So we define grief as a natural response to loss. Okay, like I said, any type of loss will result in a grief. It's an emotional suffering when someone you love or maybe an experience that you are expecting to have doesn't happen. Often the pain of loss can feel very overwhelming. You may experience all kinds of difficult and unexpected emotions which vary from shock to anger to disbelief to guilt and to profound sadness. Next, please. So what are the physical symptoms of grief? So I got this from WebMD. Here are the different ways that grief can affect your body, because there are physical symptoms to grief. No, you can get headaches, you can have like dry mouth, dry eyes, chest pain, okay, shortness of breath, nausea, less appetite or more appetite. It's not here, but you can tend to sleep more or sleep less. You can have stomach pain. You can feel very tired. You can feel your energy very low. Of course, the first thing you must remember is you have to make sure that there's really no physiological reason for it. No, so if you are able to go to the doctor and have yourself checked and they don't find anything in your tests at all, and I've seen this in a lot of my clients, usually it is grief. It is some deep sadness or some grief that is probably stuck in your system and needs to get out. Okay, next slide, please. All right. So now, briefly, let's talk about the myths, no, that hamper our grief journey. Okay. So grief and mourning are the same. That is the myth. That is the very first myth. No? Grieving and mourning are often used interchangeably. Okay. So grief is defined as the constellation of internal thoughts and feelings that we have when we lose someone, or either to death or when a relationship ends or any kind of loss. So I'd like you to look at this, this container. No, grief is this is a container, okay? And grief is all the water inside of it, or all the feelings that you go through when you are grieving. Okay, next point. Mourning, okay, mourning is when you take the grief or the water that is inside the container and you pour it out. It means you express it, no? You find a way to take it out of your system. Now, those 2 points are very important because if you do not mourn, as I have it here on my slide, you cannot heal. So very important for you to find a way to bring your sadness out of your system. How do you do that? You talk about the person who died, either with a therapist or with a friend. you cry. You know, crying is very good for the soul and for the spirit. You can express your thoughts through writing, through art, through music. You mark dates and anniversaries and birthdays, even if the person is no longer there. Okay, next slide, please. Myth number 2, grief and mourning progress in orderly stages. You know, we like stages because they give us order, right? Okay, I mean, step 1, step 2, step 3. We like to use it as a benchmark to see where we are. Unfortunately, when it comes to death, you know, stages don't really work. Okay, next point. Um, if you recall your psychology classes, the Kubler-Ross model, which was formulated in 1969, there are 5 stages: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross designed this primarily for people who are at the end of life, you know, not people who have lost a loved one or who are going through a loss experience. Loss grieving is never a linear experience. Okay? So do not try to determine where you should be and put pressure on yourself. Ay, bakit nandito pa ako sa stage na to when by this time I should be at this stage already? No? What you need to do is to just allow things to unfold. Just allow yourself to be naturally where you are. Because some days it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step backward. Then you go 3 steps forward, 2 steps backward. So it's really more like a dance than a linear process. So we all mourn in different ways, and your best teacher is your personal experience of loss. But of course, I have to say that every loss experience is different. No, every grief that you go through is different. Like when you lose your parent, it will be different from when you lose, let's say, a sibling. It will be different from when you lose a spouse. So each one is a unique journey on its own. Next slide, please. Myth number 3. Okay, move away from your grief and not towards it. Diba? We don't like to talk about sadness. We don't, tawag na natin pag-usapan yan kasi malungkot. But Proust says we are healed of a suffering only by experiencing it in full. So you have to embrace it. You don't run away from it, right? You can't sweep it under the rug. You can't neglect it because it will just stay inside you. It will become bigger and bigger and bigger, and it will, like, you know, explode one of these days if you don't face it and confront it. So how long should grief last? It's a question that is very common and a question born out of impatience, right? And the desire to move away from the experience of mourning. We hear this a lot nowadays, diba? How long is this pandemic going to last? How long is until when? You know, it's a useless question to ask at this point because, like Dr. Fauci says, you know, the virus has its own timeline, right? So the pandemic has its own timeline. So later on, I think Zarah will talk to you about how you can, you know, how you can make, as the subject of this webinar is better days, what you can do, you know, to be in the moment and to just allow things to unfold. Okay. So too many people view grief as something to overcome rather than to be experienced. You know? So it's wrong to like say, oh, get over it. You know, you really have to experience it fully. Take it one day at a time. Another thing is people tell you to be strong, right? How can you be strong when you're like all broken inside? And I see this a lot in men. You know, they, of course, they try to put up a macho facade and all that, but deep inside they're like in 100. You know, their heart is in 100 different pieces. So it's actually not good advice to tell someone, you know, lalo na yung bagong namatayan na ay kailangan maging strong ka, no? Because that's the last thing actually that a person who has just lost a loved one wants to be, right? Allow them to be soft, allow them to be vulnerable rather than telling them that you should be strong. Okay, number 4, myth number 4, next slide. Tears of grief are only a sign of weakness. So this is good. You know, a lot of people now know that, you know, crying is healthy and crying is helpful. Real key, let my hidden weeping arise and blossom. You know, it's like, it's very healthy to cry. Diba? After a really good cry, you feel really tired, but you feel really relieved, right? So they are not a sign of weakness. And you must not allow other people to tell you, oh, don't cry, or wag ka nang umiyak. Crying is nature's way of releasing internal tension in your body, and it allows you to communicate that you need to be comforted, right? Like now I do my sessions, and I think you'll have a chance to like sign up for sessions either with me or Zarah. Um, you know, clients parang nahiya sila, oh, I'm sorry, you know, I feel like crying, or they get so embarrassed. But, you know, no, it's a safe space. When you're with a good coach, when you're with a good counselor and a therapist, you should be, in fact, be allowed to cry, and you should feel, you know, very, I encourage crying, you know, crying is healthy, especially when you're going through something, diba? Kasi way yun ng ano. It's a release, tears are a release. Okay, myth number 5. Next slide. Okay, myth number 5. Being upset and openly mourning means you are being weak in your faith. I see this a lot too, no? When you lose someone, when you go through a grief experience, it's always a spiritual journey, okay? And just because you are sad or just because you are crying doesn't mean that you are, you know, you're weak in your faith, that you don't trust, you don't trust God, or you don't trust your higher being. It often results really in a crisis of faith, okay? So don't let people take your grief away and tell you, oh, wag ka na malungkot kasi nasa heaven na siya, or wag ka na malungkot kasi, you know, your loved one is with Jesus and all that. Because even in the Bible, I just can't remember what scripture, but, you know, the 3 most powerful words are, and Jesus wept. Because, you know, Jesus understands what it is that you are going through. Okay, so don't let people let you think otherwise, na mahina ang faith ninyo because you're feeling sad or lonely or looking for your loved one. Okay, myth number 6. When someone you love dies, you only grieve the physical loss. This is not true. You lose many things because loss has many layers. Okay, there's a loss of self. Who are you now without your loved one? There's a loss of security. You know, who's gonna provide for me, or, you know, especially if that person was the provider, who's going to like stay with me and be with me and do all these other things. Many different, of course, loss of meaning, right? And then loss of joy. For a while, expect that, you know, your joy will disappear. I mean, whether it's death or whether it's loss of something. Pero babalik din yun. You just have to go through the whole process. So these are some of the myths. There's one more myth, myth number 7. Okay, next slide. Myth number 7, get over your grief as soon as possible. No timetable, okay? The only thing that you need to look out for is, as long as you're not harming yourself or you're not harming the other people who depend on you, then you can grieve for as long as you want, you know? So are you over it? People like to ask that, uy, okay ka na ba? Are you over it? Worse is, you should be over it by now, di ba? Parang after 1 year, they'll tell you, oh, nagkabanglok sana eh, so dapat okay ka na. It doesn't work that way. So you don't get over it, you learn to live with it and integrate it into who you are. Integrate the loss into who you are. It will shape you, you know, like this pandemic will shape us into new people. We will never be the same persons that we were before March. You know, I look forward to how different we're all going to be when all this is over. There's no way of, diba? We say when you lose someone to death, there's a new normal. This experience that we're all going through right now is actually like a grief experience when you think about it. So when you're feeling sad and you're feeling anxious, so how do you mourn that? Diba? What are the ways that you can do to help yourself? Para kang nagluluksa ngayon eh, diba? But pag nagluluksa ka naman, di ka naman malungkot 100% of the time, right? There are things that you can do to help yourself until you get over to the other side. Okay, but remember, you never get over your grief. Okay, the correct word is one day you will be reconciled to it. So one day, how are we going to look back at this period that we are going through in our lives, diba? What story are we going to tell? Okay, So I'm done with my 7 myths. Now I want to go briefly into the role of rituals, why rituals are important. Okay, next slide. So what can we do about the rituals that we have lost, diba? How many graduations and weddings and birthdays and all these ceremonies that we were looking forward to? My two children were supposed to have graduations during this season, but I don't know if, if we're still going to have that. So, of course, that makes me sad, right? And of course, I have to acknowledge that sadness. So, next slide, please. I think I went ahead of myself, but I'm watching the time. Okay, so let's just do a quick differentiation of habit, routine, and ritual. So a habit is an action that requires little thinking, di ba? Hand washing, wearing masks, practice social distancing, habit. A routine is a string of habits that when you join together, create a sequence. So yun na nga, di ba? For example, in the morning, what do, right? First, get up, wash your face, take a shower, or get up, read your Bible, whatever. Meron kang morning routine as you have an evening routine, right? They regulate your day. A ritual is something that you look forward to. Like, let's say, what's an example? You think, meron ka bang ritual that you do every day? Like me, my ritual is, I need to have my cup of tea now before, like my chamomile tea before I go to sleep, right? It helps me distress. It helps me. It marks really the start of my bedtime ritual, diba? My Korean drama is part of my, my nighttime ritual, right? So whatever series I'm watching, I watch one episode every night before I go to sleep. That's my ritual. So Tonya Dalton, who wrote The Joy of Missing Out, said, if routines are about a series of actions or things we need to get done, then rituals are actions with meaning or emotion attached to them. So it's very important to have and to create new rituals during this period, diba? The rituals of the old, I don't know if you're able to bring some of them now, but it's very good to create new rituals now. Okay, next slide, please. Why are rituals important? Because rituals are universal human practices that help us mark all our transitions, all our special occasions. Okay, they encourage us to pause. A ritual is a moment in time which we pay attention to something. I'm sure you've heard the term mindfulness, diba? Now you really have to practice mindfulness and just really being in the moment and just pausing every day. Okay, for a few minutes, for an hour, whatever your schedule can afford, create a ritual. Okay? Important transitions are marked by rituals. Next. So like I said earlier, you have to acknowledge the loss, okay? Rituals help us negotiate all these transitions. Like I go back to my example. So we didn't have a college graduation, right? But we found another way to celebrate it. Diba? We felt bad for a while, we found a way. We still had like, a small lunch. We put up balloons. We put up, signage. You become creative, diba, with what you have, right? With what you have. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are like feeling sad, diba, that you're not able to, like, all your travel plans for the year are shot, diba? So what can you do to replace that, diba? You create a new ritual. Sabi nga, you cannot travel outside, but you can do a lot of traveling now inside, right? Which is actually the more important trip to take, right? So next, there. Nauna na ako. Create new rituals, right? So this is exactly what I just said. So now we have online church, we have online concerts, right? You can make that your thing, like Friday night, diba? There was a time that all these top artists were having like free shows, diba? Magdo-donate ka lang. And then there's telehealth and Zoom meetings and my favorite Korean drama, right? I discovered it over this pandemic. So you'll have to forgive me because it's like really wonderful. Okay, so technology, which was once, our enemy, and connectivity, is now actually our saving grace. So the question I pose to you is, what is your ritual? What are the new rituals that you have created for yourself and for your families during this period? Okay, next. I think this is my last slide. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, what is the story, diba, that you're going to tell of this period in your life? Yes, there are many losses, but there are also many gains and many wins and many gifts if you pay attention. So this is an exercise that I would like to encourage you to do. Write the first sentence and the last sentence of the story that will be written about your life during this period, diba? So, starting and ending lang. And then you take the next month or the next 60 days to fill in what you want to, what you want to put in between your beginning and your ending. So you imagine what it will be like, diba, at the end. Libre naman mangarap eh. What I'm just saying is we don't know when. Okay, so lastly, I want you to think of the pandemic as a portal. Okay, the pandemic is a portal we are all going through, and we will come out of it better than we were when it began. Okay, and the important thing is for us to make it through together. Okay, so now, how do you create those better days? I think my partner Zarah will be the one to tell you how you can do that better. I'm happy to see from the poll results that, diba, there are a lot of happy people, right? That's good. It means that after almost 4 months, I guess you are slowly adjusting to our life now. Productivity is always an issue, but uh, we'll get there. So there, that ends my presentation this afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Cathy. Uh, what
Thank
Korean
you.
novela are you watching?
K-drama,
Yeah.
currently, Dear My Friends. It's so good. You should watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a habit of yours.
Yes.
It has become
Yes.
a habit. You know, we speak
Yes.
of habits, we speak of routine, we speak of rituals. I just like to go back to the ritual of having wakes during a pandemic or
Yeah.
during this pandemic. We have
Right.
lost that ritual of
Yes.
saying goodbye, and the effect could be that walang closure.
Right.
How does one move on from a situation like that?
Yeah. This pandemic has actually made grieving and mourning so much more complicated. I mean, than it usually was. Parang nowadays, if you lose someone through COVID-19, I would actually classify that as a complicated, form of grief because it's sudden, di ba? More often than not, it's unexpected. You don't expect. And the toll that the disease takes, di ba, is like you can be dead in 2 days or you can be hospitalized for a week, 2 weeks. So it complicates so many things. And you're not allowed to be with your loved one. You cannot say goodbye to your loved one, right? You just say goodbye through FaceTime or whatever video. So that really makes it complicated. So I see that a lot in my clients now who lost their loved ones through COVID-19. Talagang mahirap siya. I mean, we're also still just navigating it, but and since all of them were cremated, kasi ganun talaga, 'di ba? Now,
Yeah.
they keep them at home, and we usually advise them to like just maybe have another memorial service like when it's safer to roam, when it's safer to roam the world again, then you can have something where you can bring in everybody. And there's like magaling nga tayo because now we can do like Zoom, of course it loses something, right? You can't like hold your friend's hand, you can't hug, you can't just be there, but technology gives it a little helps a little, so take advantage of the technology that is available.
Mhm.
Yeah,
In place of a hug or
there.
a warm embrace or a kiss, maybe even, is there something that you suggest we
uh
do? I mean, physical
well,
contact is really important, and
yes,
really
right.
consoling. But
Yeah,
when
so
you're
now it's
far
all
away,
now it's all virtual. So if you're good at words, words na lang, or like, call them, talk to them more often, do video chats, diba? But video chats can be tiring also, right? I mean, too many Zoom meetings can like really sap your energy too. So there, yun lang. Unfortunately, well, I saw a New York Times article, no? Now we can hug, but there's like a way of hugging. You can't like face each other. Parang your face has to be Opposite.
Oh,
Yeah,
like
there was a
that.
New York
You're
Times article about that. Yeah. And then if it's a child hugging a grandparent, pwede, but ganon, hindi kayo maghaharap talaga ng mukha. It's like opposite and only very briefly, like maybe, I don't know, 5 seconds or something like that.
oh my.
Yeah, very quick. So
Okay.
for now, wala yun.
So I'm sure you guys and our audience would take the 5 second hug rather than anong hug.
Right, right,
Given the
right.
opportunity to feel
Yeah.
that warmth.
If you can, yes, but now we still have to be really very careful pa rin. I mean, we're not out of the woods yet, far from it, right? So we just make do with what we can do during this period.
Mm-hmm. Our audience, Cathy, they might have some comments, some questions. I encourage them to kindly leave their comments and their questions in our comments box.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
we
you
can
very
ask
much.
questions after. Yeah, but please do send in your questions, and we'll try to answer what we can. Yeah, later at the end
Later.
of
We'll have
talk.
Q&A later, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they can prepare for their questions already for Cathy, and we will, again, as Maui said, we'll try to answer them as best as we can later on. But for now, thanks again, Cathy.
Thank
See
you
you
too.
later. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you,
Thank
Maui.
you.
Bye. I'm gonna disappear now. Bye.
Bye. Okay, we will see Cathy later on again, but for now we're going to have a raffle at the end of the webinar, and up for grabs is a Sekaya skincare pack. Sekaya is a Filipino plant-based brand that believes in harnessing the healing benefits of nature and validating them through the exacting standards of science. Sekaya prescribes nature through products like Sekaya Botanic Infusions, a curated line of medicinal botanical infusions for specific health conditions. Our skincare pack up for grabs includes one bottle of Sekaya Skin Cleanse. We'll also be giving away one bottle of Sekaya Easy Nightcap, one glass infuser teapot, and 2 glass teacups. And we'll also be telling you how you will get the chance to book a one-on-one online session with Cathy later on. So please stay tuned for that, the one-on-one session with Cathy later on, and our Sekaya gift packs up for grabs. Okay, if everyone's ready, we have our second poll. Okay, pen and paper ready? Okay, first question. The work from home setup is a challenge because of difficulty staying focused due to distractions, stress of multitasking and juggling house chores with work, long hours, the challenge of poor internet connection. Okay, that was our first question from our second poll. All right. Again, you have 30 seconds to answer. Okay, second question. On the positive side, what do you love most about staying at home? Quality time with family, more time to sleep and rest, more time for my personal hobbies and interests, learning new skills and increasing knowledge, and time for physical fitness and exercise. Okay. Our third question. I prefer working from home and would be happy if this remains as the norm moving forward. Is it a yes, that you would prefer working from home, or a no? Okay. Now let us wait for the results of our poll. Okay, the work from home setup is a challenge because of, all right, difficulty staying focused due to distractions is 25%. Stress of multitasking and juggling house chores with work, wow, that's 43%. Long hours is 10%. Poor internet connection, that's 22%. So the stress of multitasking and juggling your household chores and work. Now, second question on the poll, on the positive side, what do you love most about staying at home? Oh, nice. Quality time with family, 64%. More time to sleep and rest is 7%. More time for my personal hobbies and interests, 9%. Learning new skills and increasing knowledge, that's 20%. And ooh, I'll agree with this. Time for physical fitness and exercise. But quality time with family, wow, it's really great. Really great. Okay, next. I prefer working from home and would be happy if this remains as the norm moving forward. Yes, 59%. Wow, a close 41% answered no. Okay, maybe you can also leave your comments and your questions and some your thoughts about our poll questions and how you feel about this new normal that we are experiencing in our comment section below. Moving on to our next question and the poll. Okay, oh, that was it. All right. Now it's time to introduce our next speaker. Our next speaker is Zarah Hernaez, a U.S. certified mental health first aider from the National Council for Behavioral Health in Washington, D.C. It is her personal mission to raise awareness on mental health issues, and in 2018 was awarded by the World Health Organization as Mental Health Ambassador for her communication campaign video on mental health and suicide prevention. We are happy to welcome to Creating Better Days, Ms. Zarah Hernaez. Hi, Zarah. Good afternoon.
Hi,
Sun
good
is here na.
afternoon, everyone. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Maui Angel. Um, it's great to spend a Sunday afternoon with people who are optimistic, and I'm glad people were able to. It's 43%, I think. So this afternoon, I'll be discussing some things to help people create better days moving forward and at the same time alleviate the anxiety that naturally has been happening to all of us. So, first of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Zarah. I'm a mental health first aider, and a lot of people ask me what a mental health first aider is. A mental health first aider is someone who does initial intervention in terms towards people who are going through stress, depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, psychosis, and the myriad of mental health disorders that people go through. So, I am not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I am, in fact, a mom, just like a lot of the people listening to me right now and watching this. And I am also somebody who has been in corporate, and I used to be in corporate for 24 years. So today we will be talking about um, our anxiety and how we can move forward to better days. And admittedly, there has been a lot of stressors happening to us. COVID-19, the pandemic, working from home, etc., etc. I don't need to roll call the things that we have been going through the past several months, but these things have brought a lot of fear, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, and a lot of grief, as Cathy has talked to us about and spoke about extensively. When I talk about stress, this also triggers our fight or flight responses. So when we have our chronic stress because we are dealing with an unknown or an unseen enemy, that is COVID 19, it brings a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear for the uncertain. No, that is what anxiety is. It is a response of a fear or worry about the uncertainties. So we want to make sure that we are able to deal with this and at the same time process the grief that is going on. Because, as Cathy said, we have experienced a loss, and it doesn't mean just someone that we have left behind or has gone ahead of us, but a loss of the what we deemed as normal or normalcy. In fact, for a while, I was even grieving the use of my lipsticks, no, because we have to wear a mask every day, and I cannot use it. So these things really matter. You can grieve anything because you have lost the use of this and you have lost that normalcy. And when you talk about loss, we want to talk about moving forward and accepting. And accepting is not about giving up, it's really about letting go and believing. So, believing that things will be better, believing in better days, and most especially believing in yourself. So we want to make sure when we move forward, our anxiety as individuals is managed. When she talks about routine, when Cathy spoke about routine, I will also want to tell you to include this in your routines. These four things, no? Changing your lifestyle, which includes um, movement or exercise. 1% lang po ang nag-focus on exercise on our polls. So I want that 1% to be a little bit higher because the movement has been taken away from us. And if you don't have the space, because a lot of us live in small spaces like me, you can actually do things like jumping jacks for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or burpees, or simple things like standing up, raising your right hand, putting it on your left shoulder or opposite shoulder, and swiping down. You can do the same thing on your with your left hand, putting it on the opposite shoulder and swiping down. You can do this 30 times per side. This will elevate the endorphins in your body and push you and give you that motivation to be productive, because the key now is adapting, no? And a lot of people are trying to adapt and make sure that they are productive. Secondly, we have our food. We have been given the chance to eat healthily because we have been home. We have been eating home cooked food. A lot of us have been working, and a lot of these things that we eat come from the cafeteria or what is nearest to us at the office. More often than not, we cannot choose this. And our brain also needs food that will support it when it is highly anxious. So food that's high in vitamin B, vitamin D, B12, B6, melatonin, folic acid, omega-3 fatty acids. Those should be the things that should be in the food that you eat, the nutrients and the minerals that you need, the vitamins that you need, or you can even take supplements of these things. So this will really affect your mental health. A very clear example of how food affects your um, state of being is coffee. So when we want to be a little bit more active and awake, we have our coffee and we drink it. The caffeine boosts our energy. Imagine the food that we eat, and that's just one cup of coffee. So imagine the kind of food that we eat, that we feed in order for our brain to work better. So these are the foods that you will really have to focus on to make sure that your anxiety is managed. Secondly, I want you to put in your routine checking your breathing, because your fight or flight responses and your anxiety and stress has been triggered. A lot of us have been shallow breathing. So you will see, if you're shallow breathing, your shoulders actually raise up and down. When they raise up and down, it means you have not been breathing deeply. If you notice, when you were working, you go home, your shoulders or the back of your head actually hurts. And you weren't doing anything except for your laptop. And that should be your back, right? But no, it's your shoulders. Why? Because you have been breathing shallowly and it keeps on going up and down. Make sure that you manage your breathing. This is so important right now. So breathe. First, manage your breathing by regulating it, doing the 4-7-8 breathing technique, which is breathing in for 4 seconds, holding it in for 7 seconds with your mouth shut. Make sure that your tongue is above your teeth, upper teeth, no? So it might be this regulate your breathing, and then you can do the proper way of breathing, which is diaphragmatic breathing. So you breathe in, stomach out, breathe out, exhale, and then stomach in. This allows you, or diaphragmatic breathing allows you to have the full oxygen you need for your body, and it can also reach your brain. That's why when you're shallow breathing, we're lightheaded or nahihilo tayo. So we want to make sure that you have full oxygen. It really reaches our brain. At the same time, it engages your core. So when it engages your core and you do this regularly, you might have abs, which is actually something I ask people if they've been working out and their stomach are not as engaged. Are they breathing properly? So check on your breathing. Focus on your breathing now, because your breathing will trigger your fight or flight responses if you are breathing shallow. Third, practice reframing yourself. Now more than ever, we to control how we are thinking. A lot of things have been taken out of us. A lot of things are out of our control. The only thing we can control are the thoughts in our head. And when we start to think of negative things or things that scare us, because again, anxiety, uncertain future, it could be losing our jobs, it could be the economy, the future of our children, what's going to happen to their studies. These things kind of scare us and make our stomach turn, right? So when you are in that certain level of emotional turmoil, try to make sure that you reframe your thoughts and you pull yourself back. Meron tayong tawag nito in Tagalog. Nauuna ang ating pag-iisip. And usually, pag nauna ang ating pag-iisip, ito ay nakakatakot na thoughts. So we have to pull them back in. I do a lot of counseling, and the first thing I ask is really, how are you? Na? And I don't mean how they are, what they are doing. I really ask them, how are you now? Right at this moment. Now is the key word, because more often than not, the things that we are worried about and the things that we are angry about are things that happened in the past. There are a lot of things that we are angry about actually. And you can see it on your Facebook post since March. No, you can see that level of anger we have. Na it should have been this way and it should have been that way. But whether or not these are things that we are angry about, last March, 3 months ago, 2 months ago, last week, a few minutes ago, when my phone fell and I started worrying and I got angry at myself, it's something that's happened in the past. Every time you feel that certain level of worry and anger, remember it has already passed, even if it's a minute ago. When you are afraid of something, and these are the things that are creeping up into our heads, especially given our situation at home and our economy, these are things that will happen in the future. So when it's in the future, we do not know if it will happen or not happen. So remember, if you are worried or angry, usually these are things that happened in the past. If you are afraid and there are things that are creeping into your head, usually these are things that will happen in the future. So ask yourself if you are in the midst of that very anxious panic attack or emotional storm. How are you right at this moment? Right at this moment, I am talking to everyone here uh, during the Better Days talk. Right at this moment, and it can be physical things, it's very hot. Ang init-init, honestly. Oh, mm. I had to wipe that because it was driving me crazy. Oh, right at this moment, my legs are nangangalay. Right at this moment, I am safe. And you are safe. And you are secure. And you are healthy. More often than not, the now or right at this moment, you are okay and the now is okay. Life is made out of nows. So if your now is okay, tomorrow's now may be okay as well. So make sure that you remember this and think about these things. And then you can do grounding activities. What are grounding activities? Grounding activities are really activities that are supposed to reconnect you to the earth, no, or pull you back into the present. So these grounding activities are usually writing, doodling, drawing. It can be planting, cooking, because if you're not present and you are not um, mindful while you are cooking, well, ayan, it's either hindi siya masarap or you get burned. Showering is a grounding activity because you're able to focus and you are able to be really present, and it's a very effective grounding activity. So these are things that really pull you back to the present and out of that state of emotional storm or thoughts that you have had. So make sure that you have grounding activities that's ready, things that will pull you out. So if you notice, if you have very strong mothers and they have and go through a lot of problems, usually sinasabi nila, ay mamaya ko na iisipin yan, magluluto muna ako or maglalaba ako. This is a grounding activity. It pulls their thoughts from really scary, um, negative thoughts to a certain activity. So make sure that you do these grounding activities. If you're still in a major emotional storm and you cannot focus, because there's really some who have anxiety attacks now, and they cannot focus, look for 5 things that you can see: laptop, notebook, ball pen, fan, ayan, no? Book. 4 things that you can feel: mainit, tired, etc. 3 things you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and one good thing about yourself. Why one good thing about yourself? Because no matter how difficult life can be and how challenging things are, there will always be one good thing about yourself. It can be your eyebrows if you're happy about that and you think it's a good thing, right? So make sure that you remember this and you write this down. Again, you have to have new rituals, and having a new schedule is important. When you write this down, you need a journal. Journaling has been a very therapeutic thing, and I've been doing this since high school. So journaling for me is something that allows me to really focus. So in your journal, when you need to, Express everything you feel about the current situation. This is not the time to tell yourself na everything will be okay. If you feel angry, write it down. If you feel disappointed, write it down. Get it out of your system. Why do I want you to do this? Because everybody right now is going through a very challenging time. There might be nobody to actually listen to you, na? Nobody to help you because it's very difficult and it's challenging. Everyone's going through it. The only person who can help you will be you. So
Yourself.
please write these feelings down. And we want to write these feelings down because it will give you a lot of clarity seeing it on a piece of paper. It will allow you to see your concerns very clearly. You can also write down 3 to 5 things that you love about yourself or grateful about because these things are a good reminder and it will increase the biochemicals in your brain that will contribute to motivation and happiness. So write these things. You need to remind yourself. Lastly, always have an anchoring phrase or mantra. Anchoring means something that can hold you steady. You already have this, especially if you're a mom or especially if you're working. When you are at a very challenging or difficult time, you have something that you say to yourself, or sometimes you mutter to yourself when you're alone. Kaya ko to. I can do this. I am bigger than this. I am stronger than this problem. No? Or it can be something like, God is bigger than my problem. Oh. Those are anchoring phrases or mantras. You need to be your biggest cheerleader right now. You need these anchoring phrases or mantras to remind you every time you feel that level of anxiety and that level of stress. So next slide, please. AA. Okay. Okay. Since I don't have my next slide yet, slide please. Okay. All right. Okay. Once we have taken charge of how we feel and we have been able to manage our stresses and anxiety, please remember that we are dealing with the uncertain, with the unknown, and the unseen. And the best way to deal with this would be to anchor on the unseen and the unknown. And that means faith. We need you to have faith in yourself because this will fuel hope, and this hope will fuel and motivate you to have plans. And we need to have plans. What you see in front of you is the 7S framework. Don't forget that the tools we have at work, we can also use it at home. The 7S framework is really an organizational framework for transformation and change that we use, or I used to use, or I still do use in the organizations that I used to do. On your right, you can see the sample that I made with my family. So in the 7S framework, there are really shared values that will be applied across all the elements, soft and hard elements that you see there, no? So for my family, safety, health, happiness are our shared values for the next few months, up until the time that this thing will be something that we have adapted to and adjusted to: safety, health, and happiness. And we also define who the members of my family are. That's Mark, my husband, me, Bea, my ate Josie, our helper, and of course the dogs, because they are part of my family. And each family member has skills On your left, you see that my husband provides and protects. Since I am mother and it can be a very challenging thing, I do everything basically, a little of everything or everything. No? And we have my daughter who is very good of thinking what the happy things we should do at home or the rewards we can do. And we also have our helper Ate Josie who's very stringent about safety and cleanliness. Our dogs also play a role. Dogs give so much unconditional love. And these skills of this staff or the people in my family provides me a certain level of structure. So my husband, since he provides and protects, he's the finance head, no? We really created this organizational chart at home. I'm the CEO, my daughter is the rewards officer, the dogs are the anxiety managers. All of these things is really to help us have a level of organization. And when you're anxious, one of its biggest enemy or anxiety is one of anxiety's biggest enemies is organization. So we want to make sure that everything is organized because again, when you're emotional, you cannot think. So you need to have a certain level of organization and you need to see it until everyone gets used to it. We also have systems in place, safety procedures, what to do when you go out, when you come back, you take a shower, you have to make sure that you don't kiss anyone yet. You have your work schedules included, you have your Wi-Fi guidelines, even reward systems, because we want to make sure that everyone is on the same page. When you are stressed, when you are anxious, it will alleviate a lot of your anxiety if everyone at home and everyone in your community is on the same page. Our strategy for the year is really thrive, not survive. That is my family's strategy. And happiness above all. Magkahirapan na, things may be very difficult for everyone, but we want to make sure that everyone is still happy, whether or not we are working at our offices or whether or not we are just home. So, this is really our key strategy for the year of 2020. Because these things can be stringent, if we have a lot of structure, we had to also make sure that our management style or how we handle things at home is different. And we decided as a family that our style this year will be forgiving and kind. We will be forgiving towards ourselves and forgiving towards the people around us. We don't have to make sure that these things are stringently followed because hindi naman martial law to, no? We are human and we are people and we want to make sure that these things are just in place and followed, but we will not die if they are not really followed to the T, no? But it gives us a lot of um, very it takes a lot of anxiety out of us. So next slide, please, AA. When you do the 7S, you want to make sure that you have that family meeting. This is not something that Filipinos do usually, or families even for that matter. No, we're not used to having family meetings, but things have been very different this year. Pag may changes or major changes in the family, have that family meeting. This may be something that can be difficult to do if you live with your parents and you don't really own the home, no? But if a conversation is hard, it's probably worth having. Again, if you're on the same page, everything, anxiety will be alleviated. You may be also alleviating their anxiety or the people around you's anxiety if you are able to do this. Make sure that you get everyone's inputs when you talk about the 7S or that guide or that framework that I gave you. Write this down up until the time that we are used to it, write it down unless we have already fully adapted to these things. Post it. My daughter made cute calligraphy posters of these Wi-Fi guidelines and schedules, and it's placed on our refrigerator and on our door. Get their inputs, including the kids, including your helpers. They will be the community that will be able to help you in the next few months. Now, more than ever, we have seen how important community and family has been the past several months. AA, next slide, please. When you have that family meeting, make sure that you respect each other's schedules and priorities and share these schedules and priorities. My family knows I have a talk this afternoon. They know the schedule of talks I have throughout the week. It is placed on our refrigerator so that they know that they will not be watching Netflix while we are while I'm having my talk or listening to Spotify or doing something that will eat up the bandwidth at home. So, this is something that we share. When I talk about family members, include your children, and their schedule is as important as yours. It does not mean that since they will just be doing recreational activities, it's not as important. So make sure that these things are really aligned. Respect their schedules as well, especially when they will be doing learn from home. And a lot of a lot of schools have already started announcing that for the rest of the year, it's going to be learned from home. This will be a challenge. You need to make sure that their work and the things that they do is as important as yours. Remind yourself that when we work from home, there should be boundaries. When I talk about boundaries, this has been my work area since the quarantine started. In all of my talks, and I've done a lot, this has been my background and this has been my work area. My husband's work area is the study. My daughter's work area is her room. This has been established since the quarantine started. So they know, and my husband knows, if I have a talk at 7 in the morning and he still wants to sleep, he has to be booted out of the room. He knows that because this is my assigned area. And in my assigned area, there should be no distractions like television, whatever music it can be. Make sure also that you prepare for your work day. This has been taken away from us. And our mind takes a while to adjust to the current situation. If you've been working for more than 3 years in the office, your mind has already been set a certain way. You already had that schedule, going to work, commuting, taking a bath at 6 in the morning, eating breakfast, doing those things. Again, rituales nga siya. At nasanay na ang ating utak and our brain is used to it. Bring that back in. We cannot keep on working in our pajamas anymore because making sure that you go through the work routine that you used to have and the work schedule that you used to have will make your brain remember how it was and make you more productive. Change change into work clothes. Look nice if you have to. In fact, if you had a favorite perfume when you were working, please don't say it's sayang to use at home. Use it now because our sense of smell triggers a lot of our brain and our memory. So this will allow you to remember how it was when you were working. It will push you to be a little bit motivated and give you that level of productivity that you need. No? So, your brain cannot distinguish what is real or not. If your brain can smell that perfume, it will think that you're going to work. Ergo, you will be feeling like you are going to work 100% on that day. Make sure that the food at home is already set up. When it's set up, I will have to tell you to make sure that there's grazing food the whole day because you will be busy working. Your husband will be busy working. You cannot have the usual breakfast, lunch, dinner schedule. A grazing table would be best. Think of food that even your kids can fix on their own. Make your own sandwiches, empanadas. I'm sure ginagawa ninyo to the past several months para they cannot bother you into cooking the whole day because it will eat up your work time. So those things, make your own tacos, make your own sandwiches, empanadas, anything that you can just fold up and eat. It's something that they can grab the whole day and they cannot minimum intrusion for you while you're working. Your work schedule should also be something that you think about. Working from home does not mean working all day. Your human resources and the Department of Labor put 20 minutes break in the morning, 20 minutes break in the afternoon, and a 1 hour lunch break. This is for maximum productivity and effectivity. Also, the 8 hours, because if you work for more than 10 hours, well, your brain cannot absorb these things anymore. So those things were really placed into your schedules for a reason. So please put it in your schedules now. If you have to talk to your team members, your bosses, your etc., your department, that you should have this set in place already, then please talk to them. Next slide, please, AA. Lastly, have family meetings. You have to reward yourself. And when you have that family meeting, have 20 minutes of alone time. It will give you a lot of breathing and relaxing um, space. You need this. Why? Because it's more stressful to actually work at home. Your mind is doing a lot of things at the same time. While you're working, iniisip mo kung ano ang ulam for dinner. So your brain is going haywire. Make sure that you have 20 minutes, and this will serve as your reward for the day. Create a space that will allow you to just have that 20 minutes of joy. This is still my space. I have my plants here. I have my laptop here. I can listen to music. I can meditate in this area. And this is my space of joy. If you don't have enough space, again, hirap nga tayo, no? There are some people who really don't have the space. They can use the bathroom. I know someone and I helped someone create that space of joy for her, no? By repainting the bathroom, putting her candles there, her scented candles, and that's where she stays and hides from her kids and family and just gives herself 20 minutes to just focus and just be present and just enjoy that place. If again you don't have space, you can have a happiness box. So what's a happiness box? You can put everything there that makes you happy. It can be a letter from your husband, love letter from your boyfriend, girlfriend. It can be a picture of you 10 years ago when you were skinny and it really makes you happy when you look at it. It can be a picture of your family. When you look at these things, when you have that 20 minutes of joy and that space of joy and that happiness box, make sure that when you look at these things, like the letter from your husband, when you look at those pictures of your family, remember that feeling when that moment happened. We have a very a visual word in Tagalog, namnamin. Namnamin mo ang feeling na yon. Remember it, visualize that moment. Visualize that moment when you read that letter for the first time. Remember that feeling. Remember that kilig. Remember that happiness. You need these things, and it will reward your brain, and it will allow your brain to be in a state wherein it is accepting new things and new changes. Weekly rewards is also important as a family. Let your children decide this. They're very good at deciding what will make you guys happy, and you can call it a weekly reward or a gratitude meal. Next slide, AA. Lastly, we have been going through so many things, but for every challenge, we also have a lot of learning. Make sure that you think of this time as a blank slate. Sabi nga ni Cathy, this is a portal. We want to come out of this better. When you have that notebook, that journal, that scheduler or planner, Write what is important to you and what is unimportant to you. That has been really clear the past several months. Klarong-klaro kung ano ang importante sa atin at hindi importante. Write the things that have been important to you. Value this. Because what has been important to you the past 3 months or past 100 days, for sure, will be the things that will continue to be important to you and will make you happy whether or not nasa bahay ka or you are at work. This will be a constant. At the same time, when you are anxious, learn from it. Write down also what your strengths and your weaknesses are the past several months. It also has been very clear. It does not necessarily have to be the technical skills you learned at work. It can be things like I was very helpful during this period. I was very kind to our neighbors, to myself, to my family. I was very patient. These are strengths. Crisis reveals character. And those strengths that you wrote down, that is you. And that is your character. The things that are important to you, that is you. And this creates you as a whole. And I want everyone to remember that this year should not define you. You are not defined by 3 months or 1 year in your life. You are more than that. You are able to overcome bigger things and bigger challenges throughout your life. So that you have written down, that is the same you that will bring you forward and create better days for you. Only you can. Because there are a lot of things that we cannot really handle at this period in time. But if there is anyone that you should believe in, it should be you. So there. Okay. Next slide. Wala na. I think that's my last slide na.
Okay.
Okay, Maui and
Okay.
Angel.
Hi, Zara.
Hi. I can't
I
seem to see you.
can't see me. Ito. Okay. There.
There you go.
Yay! Thank you. Wow, thank you very much. Ang dami kong natutunan. A lot of homework to do. I'm sure our audience rin, we're taking down notes, understanding how to incorporate this new normal, this new life into our new life. I can't even say old life. Meron bang ganon, Zara? Can you identify something as an old life and
No,
moving into a new one?
you know what I always say during my talks? I never use new normal. I always say current situation because current means it will change. We don't know when it will change, but currently this is what we are going through, right? So a lot of people also tell me, life has been on pause. Life has not been on pause. This is life, friend. And this is the current situation that we have. So I kind of try to veer away from saying that this is the new normal. This is just the current situation that we have, and anything that is current will change.
Mm-hmm.
No?
And parang when you say new normal, no, to be candid and honest about it, nothing is really quite normal with how things are, 'di ba? Yung sitwasyon natin, trying to understand each word lang and how it affects you, 'di ba?
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. And again, the boundaries between work and home life, trying to distinguish them, knowing your cutoffs, kung kailan pwede pa mag-work at home and kung kailan
Yeah,
it's your home life already. It's like
correct.
a dual
If
personality, no?
it is a dual thing, because again, as I was saying, if you've been working for more than 3 years, your mind is actually compartmentalized into two. One is my work self and the other one is my home self, and you also have a different sense of validation and happiness in these things, no, very different. But we have to remember that that's just one person. And that's what's happening right now. And that's where the struggle is because continue to compartmentalize it. I want to make sure that you remember that you're just one you. Um, in fact, I have had a lot of calls from people during the past few months that they've had relationship issues because iba pala ang personality ng asawa ko sa office. Inglesero pala siya sa kanyang mga online meetings. Hindi naman siya ganyan sa bahay. Nakakairita. Pare, dude. So literally, even the persona is different. You have a work persona and you have a home persona. And we have to make sure to remember that we are just one person. And again, understandably, kasi nga, we have been programmed to be that way. There are different rules, there are different systems at work, there are different languages at work, and there's your home. So you have to make sure that you are able to marry this. And I hate that word, by the way. We have to marry
Mary?
this.
Okay.
You
What
have to
word would
make
you
sure
use?
merge.
Merge.
We have to
Okay.
merge this. But kailangan unti-untiin. We have to make sure that we have a framework for it to remind us because we're not used to it yet. Up until the time that we are used to it and we are fully whole, then it's easier for us. But right now, since again, we've been programmed, then it may take a while. We'll feel like we're in limbo. Hindi pa
But
100%.
But thanks to creating better days, the talk that you just shared, and that of Cathy's, and later we will be asking some questions from our audience. Those who posted na their comments and questions, I'm sure marami silang gusto pang matutunan, gusto pang maalala, at gusto pa ng guidance how to continue this life that we find ourselves in. So we'll see you again in a while, Zarah.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Again, we'd like to encourage our audience to leave your comments and questions in our chat. And later on, we'll tell you how you will have a chance to schedule a one-on-one session with Cathy and Zarah. And now I'd like to mention that we will have another raffle or raffle prizes up for grabs again at the end of the webinar. And up for grabs are two more prizes from Integrade. Integrade is a line of doctor-supported, pharma-grade, and functional natural supplements. Its products undergo stringent testing protocols to ensure safety and quality. So we have two gift packs up for grabs. Our first gift pack is one bottle of Integrade Holy Basil, a natural food supplement that provides support to the body in preventing stress-related ailments. And we'll also be giving away one Integrade notebook. Our second gift pack to be given away this afternoon is one bottle of Integrade L-theanine, which helps provide support in managing anxiety, promoting a relaxed state, and high mental alertness without the drowsiness. So that we will be giving away those two gift packs later on in our webinar or later on in our program. We shall proceed to our third poll. Okay, there you go. Our third poll starts off with the question, I wish. I wish for things to go back to how they used to be. I wish to learn how to adapt and thrive in this brand new world. Again, 30 seconds. To answer the questions or to choose from our selection with the question, I wish. Okay, our second question for our third poll. I believe that I am capable of creating better days ahead for myself and for my family. Please select, is it a yes or a no? Again, our question, I believe that I am capable of creating better days ahead for myself and for my family. Okay. Our third question, what webinar would you be interested in attending next? Nutrition and healthy cooking for boosting the immune system. Financial planning for a comfortable retirement. How to manage stress and anxiety. And how to turn your passion into a business. Okay. Okay, that was the last question for our third poll. Now we will be showing the results. I wish for things to go back to how they used to be. That's 20%, and 80% of you said that I wish to learn how to adapt and thrive in this brand new world. Beautiful. Okay. Wow, 80%. You will learn how to adapt and thrive. Second, I believe that I am capable of creating better days ahead for myself and for my family. 98% said yes, and 2% said no. Better days ahead. We are creating better days ahead, the start of a beautiful life, the start of better things to come. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, your answers. Next, poll results. What webinar would you be interested in attending next? Nutrition and healthy cooking for boosting the immune system. You said 23% of you said that you would like that for our next webinar. 18% of you said financial planning for a comfortable retirement. How to manage stress and anxiety, 33%. And how to run your passion into a business, 26%. So Maui, 33% how to manage stress and anxiety webinar. Next webinar that our audience would like to attend next. We'll work on that. Okay. Thank you for answering. Hi, Maui. So
Okay, my
managing
video was
stress and anxiety. Yeah, that's your cue to come in.
just now because my video was cutting out, but I think it's okay again.
That's stressful a bit, no? You know, the internet connection, you get anxious, you try your best to control, not to get mad, but it's an emotion that you need to release as well. I mean, not really getting mad, but upset lang, just a little. It's becoming, you know, you're human to get upset, to get a little bit mad and anxious. Right? Okay,
Yes.
so now we are open to the questions that our audience left or typed in for Cathy and for Zarah. So hi Cathy, welcome back.
Hi, Cathy.
Hi.
And Zara, are you back?
Hi,
There you
Zarah.
are. Yes, we have
Good.
time for a couple of questions. So go
Okay.
ahead, Angel. I think we have some there for you to read out.
For Cathy, let's start off with Cathy. How do you deal with the feeling of wanting and needing to cry but cannot seem to cry?
Okay. Can you repeat the question, Angel?
Sure,
Please?
thank you. Yes, of course. How do you deal with the feeling of wanting and needing to cry but you can't seem to cry?
Okay. Well, first of all, you cannot force the tears. You cannot. So it will come in its own time. There are things that you can do to help bring them out, like maybe watch something sad, or listen to sad music, or memory, think about your times with, or whatever it is that, whoever it is that you lost. It will come, it will come in its own time. You cannot force it. You cannot force it to come. And sometimes you may be surprised, it may hit you at a time when you least expect it to. So just relax, just relax. It will come when it will come when it comes.
Thank you, Kathy. Question for Zara. At the stage of past anger, is it normal to express it on Facebook posts? Expressing it feels better. Zara? Hi, Zara.
Sarah, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Hi. You
Expressing
can?
your anger feels better, but the yeah, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
thank you.
Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Can you hear me, Angel?
Sabay-sabay.
there's a delay, but yes.
Yeah, I can
Wala.
hear you.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Zara.
Yes. There. Okay, expressing your anger can make you feel better. In fact, expressing your anger is something that we would encourage. But again, we have to say, yeah, we have to make sure that it is at the right place and at the right time. The thing with Facebook, sometimes we forget that this is not real life. Real life is where you are at that current moment. Again, we have to bring ourselves back to the now, and it is not Facebook. So it is always your choice as to where you would want to express your anger, but also try to remember that your anger can affect other people. And even if we think it is harmless to just place this our anger online, the people who read it will also get affected by it. And just because that these things are just posted there, it does not mean that no one gets affected by it. Give yourself some credit. Your voice has power. The words you write has power. Whoever it may be, it will affect other people. So be mindful again of the things that we will post. And you can express your anger somewhere else that is more productive, because we always have a choice. Either you will have to express your anger in a more productive or destructive way. Personally, I'd rather choose the productive way.
Okay. Thank you. A friend, I just want to add a little bit, if a good friend of mine was saying, pag naiinis siya or nagagalit siya, she gets her pillow and shouts and covers her face. Nakakatulong daw. The release helps. Okay. Question for Kathy. How do you
Yes.
help? Thank you. How do you help young children grieve?
Well, it depends on the age of the child, kasi a child it's broad, right? So I'm assuming young children maybe age 3 to 7, 5 to 7, probably. Yeah. With children, it's different. You can't like, well, there are exceptional children who can like express and tell you what it is that they feel in their heart, diba? But some children cannot, because they still don't have the capability to do that. So you have to do exercises with them, drawing, play therapy is what you normally use with children. So there are specialists who can do that. I don't do play therapy. I only see children age 12 and above, or in some instances age 10. No, so yung younger children, that's really very specialized. But yeah, pay attention to the things that they say, and the way they behave after a loss. That could be your cue. If they seem to be more anxious than usual, then that merits further investigation.
Okay. Thank you. Just a little bit of a follow up to that. During this time, I like what you've said in your talk, Cathy. It's difficult for children, the young ones, the young adults, and even adults to uh, not to embrace, hug, or kiss family members. When the opportunity presents itself, parang hindi mo mapipigilan ang emosyon mo when it comes to something like that. And just like how to deal with it and how to make the young children understand that this is the situation for now,
Right.
and when the time comes, there's a good chance that we will get that embrace, get that hug, for longer than maybe the 5 seconds that you suggested.
Right. So parents have to be very patient kasi sometimes kids will, ask question, then they'll ask it again, then they'll ask it again, diba? So you just have to be really patient with them and keep explaining at a level that they understand. So I like the concept of what Zarah said, family meetings. They're really important, even if your children are young, you can like gather them and explain to them what is happening, at nga, in the language that they will understand, so that they also will not have fear, diba? It's like, why are we always at home, diba? I mean, it's like, or kunyari, they'll see something in the news, or they hear something in the news. Why are so many people dying, diba? So you need to like, and there are many resources on the web. WHO has, Center for Disease Control has, on how to explain the pandemic to younger children.
Thanks, Cathy. Zarah,
Yes.
you mentioned grounding activities. Can you suggest simple and quick grounding activities aside from scribbling?
Taking a shower is a very effective grounding activity. It actually stops your mind from going from a very frantic state to a more relaxed state. So if you notice, your best ideas come when you're taking a shower. Apart from that, really focusing on your breathing. When they say count 1 to 10, focus on your breath for 10, um, 10, 10 breaths. So really, when you inhale and when you exhale, and just really focus on it. Another thing would be moving, focusing on your feet. No, wiggle every single toe and really feel its wiggling, and then move up. You can move your go up to your knee. So my toes, my knees, my shoulder, my head.
Shoulders, my head.
So feel it and really feel it and really focus on it. That's our biggest concern now. Everything's just so fast paced that we tend to take for granted the fact that these things are happening. So go back to basics and focus on this. Reminding yourself also, where am I now? Nasa bahay ako, what my name is, what I'm doing, and how I'm feeling. Just really being present and totally present can be good grounding activities.
Okay. Thank you, Zara. About listening to calming music, incense, sage. To those who are familiar with sacred herbs, go around the house and do that, or calming music, like we mentioned earlier. It's also could be a grounding activity.
Yeah, and you really, again, this is a very visual Tagalog word. Namnamin mo
Namnamin.
ang activity, right? you don't just turn on the music and it's there. You don't just use your incense and your sage and as if you're spraying Lysol. No, smell it, do the ritual, really focus on it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what will really bring you back to um, where you are.
How about decluttering? Decluttering your space, since we're at home and we would like to be able to focus on activities, whether it be for work or personal activities at home, and you see what you have at home, and to declutter would also be a good grounding activity, would you say, Sarah? Hi, Sarah.
All right, I disappeared.
Oh, okay. And you're back. Can you hear
Okay, I'm back.
me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Decluttering
Yes.
decluttering your home, decluttering your space. There's time to also be mindful of what we have inside our homes.
Correct. Cleaning is a grounding activity. Why? Because it helps you be present at that moment, and it allows you again to, um, since it's repetitive movement, puts you in a meditative state also. So habang naglilinis ka, you are focusing on it. So again, the key here is making sure that you are focusing on
Free si Sarah.
Yeah. Hi,
Yeah.
Sarah. Oh, no. Okay. We can wait. Hi, Cathy. You're not
Yeah.
frozen? You're not an
No,
Elsa or
I'm
an
not.
Anna. You're not Elsa nor an
No,
Anna. No.
I'm not an Elsa or an Anna at the moment.
you're
Yeah.
you're not an
No,
Elsa.
I wanted to say
Okay.
something about, yeah, I also wanted to say something about decluttering that I
Yes,
read
please.
recently, especially during this time. Yeah, Dao, that you are like, because if there are like several stages in transformation, decluttering is the second stage because you're like shedding a lot of the old things and making way for new things to come into your life or new routines or new systems. So decluttering is a good exercise
Mhm.
during this period. It is indicative that you are now willing to like accept the changes that are coming.
Oh, nice. Parang willing rin to let go of some things
Yes,
and willing to let new things come in. It be a physical item or an emotional baggage,
precisely.
perhaps. No? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, precisely.
Okay.
So we have all the time
So,
in the world now to declutter.
yeah. Have you been decluttering?
Yes, yes, I'm not done yet. So yeah, it's
Okay.
a continuing process. Yeah, but I'm enjoying it. And tama si Zara,
Yeah.
it grounds you in the moment. But on a higher plane, it is also indicative of your willingness to let go of the old and make space for the new.
How nice. Meron bang specific day, Zara, Cathy, that you engage in this decluttering or a grounding activity? Should it be a ritual, a routine? Should it be a habit?
So I declutter by area, like what Marie Kondo said, okay, I'll just
Yeah.
do this area first, then I'll just do this area first, then siguro mga once a week I do that. Yeah, I notice I've been doing that on a weekly basis. Like there's a day and I'll say, okay, I'll just declutter today. So there.
Okay. Thank you. Zara?
Okay.
Yes, I'm back.
Oh, you're back. Hi, welcome back. Yeah, just talking about decluttering and it's a form of grounding also, like what you've mentioned, no? And
Yeah.
it's a ritual. Dapat namnamin mo talaga yung mga ginagawa mong
Mm,
grounding activities, whether it be scribbling, decluttering, maybe listening to calming music.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. And we are at the question and answer portion of our webinar, of our program for today. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for the Q&A, but there are 10 of our audience who will be able to get a free online session with you, 5 online sessions with Cathy, and 5 with Zarah. These are free online sessions. What do they have to do? The link is available now on the chat for those who are interested to sign up for a one-on-one session with Zarah or Cathy. We will also post the sign up link on our social media page after the webinar. And a gentle reminder, this is on a first come, first served basis. So again, you can see on your screens, book a one-on-one session with Cathy Babao, our grief coach, and Zarah Hernaez, our mental health first aider. So 5 sessions for Cathy and 5 for Zarah. Okay, so the sooner you sign up, the higher your chance of being one among the first 10. And that will happen in July. Grabe, no, it's the end of June already on Tuesday. How fast!
Yes, it's July on Wednesday. Imagine.
I know.
Congratulate yourselves.
Congratulations to all of us for making it
Little
this
clap for ourselves.
Pat on the back for everyone.
right.
Yay!
We made
Wow,
it.
stronger and more focused, healthier, and we will continue to create better days, no? For the next 100, 200 days. I'm just so surprised it's July. Coming in to July. But the better surprise is that come July, 5 from our audience will be able to get a one-on-one session with Cathy and 5 with Zarah. Okay, so final message, Cathy first, please. Okay.
Yeah,
Cathy.
you know, these are challenging times. These are difficult times. Admittedly, we'll have our moments of anxiety and stress, but you know, remember these things pass. But feeling there are things that you can do. Hopefully, what? Can you hear me? Who's in?
A bit frozen. Oh, there.
Okay, is it back?
Yes.
It's back. Yeah. Well, I just wanted to say that, although these are challenging and difficult times, there are things that you can do to help yourself. And if you're like feeling overwhelmed, just take it one day at a time. And before you know it, the pandemic will be over. Stop asking yourself when it's going to be over, but you just allow, each day to unfold and do what you can to make it through. And we will make it through. Definitely.
Yes, we will. Thank you, Cathy.
Thank you.
Zarah?
Yeah, and Cathy was saying that everything is just so uncertain and it will be over. And really, the future is in our hands. The future will be beautiful if we make it beautiful. And we're the only ones who can do that for ourselves. So,
yes.
Right.
Yes. It was again, I'll take off from the word beautiful, no? Beautiful afternoon spent with Zarah and Cathy guiding us, enlightening us, and helping us deal with the everyday life. We cannot project far into the future. We deal with the now. We make do with the resources we have. We take our cue and guidance from Zarah and Cathy for being so generous with how we should move forward with this life that has been presented to all of us.
Yes.
So again, thank you.
And thank you to everyone who's here this afternoon and stayed with us for thank you. Thank you, Angel. Thank you, Maui.
Thank you.
Thank you to Forest
You
Lake.
guys can stay on because we're going to announce our raffle winners. So, but before we do that, Before we do that, I'd like to introduce Forest Lake's Managing Director for Operations, Sales, and Marketing to give us the closing remarks. Let's listen to Mr. Albi Perez Burgos.
Good day to you all. We hope that you were able to take away valuable life lessons that will help you navigate confidently through life's twists and turns. We wish for you to feel empowered so you may move forward and flourish in this new world we're living in. Thank you for being here today and joining us as we continue our fight for a better place. Together, let us keep creating better days ahead. Stay healthy, stay safe, and well. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Once again, that was Forest Lake's Managing Director for Operations, Sales, and Marketing, Mr. Alvi Jerez Burgos. Now it's time to announce our raffle winners. The winner of the Sekaya Skincare Pack. Okay, let's just. Okay. Okay, time to announce our winners of the Sekaya Skincare Pack, which contains the Sekaya Skin Cleanser or the Sekaya Skin Cleanse. Aids in clearing the signs or the skin of impurities. It contains sarsaparilla root, cinnamon bark, orange peel, ginger root and licorice root, clove flower buds, and yellow dock root. Our winner of the Sekaya Skincare Pack, Imelda Millanes. Congratulations! Okay, more prizes to be given away. Our Integrate Gift Pack first winner is Denise Montelibano. Congratulations, Denise. Okay. Also, oh, and the Integrate Gift Pack, our second Integrate Gift Pack giveaway is Didi Tang. Congratulations, Didi. You just won an Integrate Gift Pack. Okay. We have more prizes to be given away. And for your prizes, how will you get those prizes, or how will it be given to you? Our team, our Forest Lake team will get in touch with you.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, they'll be
That's right. We will
okay,
send prizes to them directly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yes. So again, the Sekaya Skincare Pack, Imelda Millanes, Integrate Gift Pack, Denise Montelibano, and Integrate Gift Pack, our second gift pack, Didi Tang. Congratulations to our winners. And if you're interested on how to order Integrate, you may message them through their Facebook page at www.facebook.com/integrateph, or send them a message via Viber at 0917-574-5292. Okay. Again, we'd like to remind you about signing up for the one-on-one session through the link in our chat that will be posted on our social media page this coming July. A free one-on-one session with Cathy and Zarah. So 5 free one-on-one sessions with Cathy and 5 also for Zarah. And I'd like to remind everyone that it is on a first come, first served basis.